right, Snyder? Dane, Dan, Dan. I don't
Hey,
know.
hang on just a second.
You're
All
my,
right,
you're
can you
like
hear
my
me?
number one fan, aren't you? You're always sending
Oh,
me
well, I don't know if I'm your
the.
number one fan. That would make me seem like a dirty old man since I have children. All of my children. No, I don't know. No, I've got a couple children younger than you, but the rest of them are older than you. So, no, I can't. But you are Irish and you're tall and you're smart and you're working hard. So, there's a lot to be proud of there. So, I don't know if I'd call me your number one fan, but I'm probably up there. And better not nobody be talking bad about Pearl because I am a redneck, and you know we can be crazy. We can be crazy.
You guys are in
But anyway,
Alabama, right? Right?
well, yeah, but let me give you a little caveat there, Pearl. We're in South Alabama. We're down here on the beaches.
Okay.
So we're down here. Alabama has two ends. They have the end up there by Tennessee that is like Huntsville, which is the space industry.
Okay.
And then down here on the coast, we have shipbuilding and chemical plants and a lot of tourism. And in between, that's where the people live that they have cousins and stuff. They're in between Alabama. That's where, you know, your aunt might also be your cousin or your sister or something. You never know, but that's Alabama. But I do live down here on the Gulf Coast. So, yeah.
Is it true
Anyway,
what they say about Alabama?
that it's the sweet home Alabama. Yeah. Yeah. Now,
No,
what
the
do they say?
cousins.
Oh, no, well, I think it might be. I don't know. I mean, when you get there around Opelika or Montgomery or up there where it's trees and you drive forever and there's not even a gas station, I drive through there. I don't slow down.
Okay.
But we can still look down on Mississippi, which is just to the west of us, which is where I'm originally from.
Okay.
So, at any rate, to your question, should you marry your best friend? And you know, I've told you before, Deidre and I have been married for 33 years. I've been putting up with her for 35 years. It took me about a year to run a trap on her so she'd finally marry me. But you know, back in 1990, when you got somebody pregnant, the right thing to do was to get married, and that's what I did. So I knew as soon as I could get her knocked up, we could hook up, and that's what we did. And we've had 5 kids since then. And to be honest with you, it's a very complicated question because we really need to ask ourselves, Pearl, what does a person mean by this wife, this husband is my best friend? I think from the woman's side, when they say, "Oh, this is my bestie," they're thinking about somebody they can be cutesy with and be silly with, and they don't have to worry about their best friend telling them they're getting fat or they're being stupid about something. So if that's the case, then no, a man should never marry his best friend if he's not going to be holding her accountable.
Mm.
And but on the other hand, I would think the best friend would be the ride or die person, the person that's going to put up with you when you're being nothing but shitty, really. You know, that your best friend is the one that's going to be committed to you to be with you when you're not being very friendly and aren't very deserving. So, I mean, I think in that case, you need to marry somebody that is going to be your best friend. But that doesn't mean that you're just all fun and games. Because the problem, I think, with the mindset that you need to marry someone who's your best friend is people change best friends throughout their lives. This was a problem. My oldest daughter, I had trouble getting her to understand when she was younger, and I'm still not sure she understands it. And that is that women talk about, oh, this is my best friend, my bestie, together forever. And then, like next week, they'll be pissed off at their best friend, and she'll be the low down, good for nothing, hoochie mama, and all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, that's what I think is really dangerous about saying that you should marry your best friend because best friends are really temporary. You know, when a man and a woman get married, they get married, if they're Christians, of course. They're supposed to be one flesh. They're supposed to be one flesh, you know, together forever, all that kind of stuff. I'm a redneck. I can't sing. I'm sorry, but that's the best I can do.
That's okay.
But you understand what I'm saying? So if by marry your best friend, if that person means someone that you're going to join to and you're going to stick with together forever, to death do you part. I used to tell Deidre that if she dies before me, I'm climbing in the hole behind her. Okay. In that regard, we're best friends. On the other hand, sometimes Deidre gets a little sideways. You know how y'all will do. You know how you women will do. Y'all wake up some mornings and you hate the world And sometimes I have to do what I call using my big voice on her. From that movie Chicken Little. Remember that movie Chicken Little?
Yeah, yeah.
And near the end, the alien, and then the alien mother comes and says, "Don't use your big voice on me." Sometimes I have to use my big voice on her. And sometimes I have to sometimes say things to her in that big voice that some people, feminists, might say were abusive. But I mean, she can tell you that in those times, if I don't use my big voice on her, just basically stand up and say, "Hey, we are friends, but we're not equals in this relationship. One of us is a leader here." If I wasn't willing to do that, she would likely go off the rails. And she would probably tell you that. So I think that being able to stand up and be best friends enough with your wife to tell her to shut up, I think is an example of being a best friend.
Mm.
But by best friend, it means I'm a realtor in South Alabama, EXP Realty, Dave Snyder, give me a call. I'm a realtor, and I have a realtor friend, young friend, about your age. And we were having a discussion one time about relationships. And she said to me, I said that I wasn't really concerned about Deidre's happiness. That's another thing. Best friends want you to stay happy. And this young lady said, "Oh, Dane, you know that if Miss Deidre wanted something to be happy or needed to be, something to be happy, that you do whatever it would take to make her happy." She says that because she sees Deidre and me together, and we get along really, really good, and we do now. There's been a lot of screaming and cussing to get here, though. But like I told her, I explained to her, I said, "I'm not interested in Deidre's happiness at all. It's not anywhere near the top of my list. It's not even on the list for the most part." And we went back and forth. Keep the issue. That's a big threat. And that's something that Deidre would tell you that she knew before I ever met her that she was crazy. So you had something to work with.
Yeah.
If you have your woman, no matter how much honky tonk badonka she might have, if she doesn't think she's crazy, but yeah, if she knows she's crazy, you got something to work with. You want to find out what her spending habits are. At 17 or 18, we didn't have spending habits. But if you're dealing with an adult woman, what's her spending habits, all of those sorts of things, conflict resolution, that sort of stuff. That's what I would tell them about. And get all of those things under control. And then if y'all really enjoy spending every waking moment together when you're not at work or doing something else, and you can get along doing that and you enjoy that sort of stuff, really that's like icing on the cake. You need the cake and you need the icing on the cake. It sucks eating just dry cake. So if all of the logistics come together, the business part, if she's a great housekeeper, even great in bed and all this sort of stuff, but you don't really enjoy spending time around each other, you don't miss one another when you're apart, that's going to be a very dry life. You're going to have to wash that down with a lot of milk.
Right.
But if all you have is the best friend icing and the sugar, now you're looking at being a diabetic, probably vomiting every day from eating it all the time. You see, I mean, you got to have a balance of those two things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important, like I said, when I started to define your terms, she's over here eating some boiled peanut cup right here. You see this? She's over here eating some, look.
Oh, well.
Hi.
Say hello, Deej.
Hello.
She didn't have her hair done, so I didn't invite her on. She walked in as I was in the waiting room, and I was like, "Oh no, she's here." So I got to talk good about her. No, see, see, that's an example. See, there she is, Pearl, and she's been sitting there. When I told you, she got to know she's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Are you crazy, girl?
Absolutely.
And she's the least crazy one in her family, if you can believe it. But but yeah, at any rate, I could go on all day long. I could take over your whole show if you let me. But I just thought it was great when you said it was going to be a call-in show, and should you marry your best friend? Because I've had this conversation with so many people who think that best friend has got to be at the top of your list.
Yeah, so you're
You know,
saying it's important, but it shouldn't be at the top.
it shouldn't be anywhere near the top if you're going to be smart.
Yeah.
I wasn't smart, okay? I was young and horny, okay? And I was just like, wow, she's 4'11" too. I mean, she just looked like you could pick her up, put her in your damn pocket, and take her with you everywhere, right? So that's all I was thinking.
You could
Plus,
become friends.
plus, I grew up a single mother. You know, I grew up, let's say, economically deprived. Her father, they weren't well off, but they were very firmly middle class.
Mhm.
So I was like, man, I got a pretty girl. Her family got some money. Let's go, you know, all of the wrong reasons. But I was 18 years old, you know, and I knew I was in when she told me she wanted to go have portraits made at Sears. That'll tell you how long ago it was. Portraits made at Sears. I was like, wow. So you mean you want to have documentation of this relationship? So I knew I was in then. But I was completely stupid. See, I was raised by a single mother, so I was mildly feminized when I met her. I didn't have a father,
Mhm.
but it didn't take me but about a year or so to figure out that I didn't know jack about handling her, and I had to really man up, and I had to learn some stuff.
Mhm.
So if the guy is older and he's got something to lose, I didn't have a whole bunch to lose.
Mhm.
But if you've got something to lose, and if she's an adult where she's already developed these adult habits, and I understand watching y'all's podcast that developing these adult habits is starting out a lot younger than it used to,
Mhm.
you know, then certainly best friend. It worked out for us. My mother, we call her mama down here. My mama said, God takes care of certain people, idiots, infants, fools, and drunks. And I think that's what happened with us because we just got together because we was warm and fuzzy. And here we are 30 some odd years later.
Mhm.
So some people might say, well, it worked out for y'all. It worked out for you, Dane. Everything's great. You and Deidre are getting along great. There's been a lot of screaming and a lot of yelling and a lot of working this out. And in 3+ decades, I can't say that I know anyone, any couples that we knew that got together with the same circumstances we did who haven't been divorced, some of them multiple times.
Really? So most of the people like in your guys' class and stuff, they ended up divorced?
Right, right, divorced because they got married for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
Um, you know, that sort of stuff. I can't say we didn't get married. I can't say that we got married for the wrong reasons, but we didn't get married for the best reasons I could say, which would be the smart, mature adult things, you know. But I mean, we did get married because uh, as much as we could understand love at 17, 18 years old, you know, I mean, we believed we loved each other and we were committed to making a life together. We didn't have any idea what that meant.
Right.
But in our 17, 18-year-old minds, this is why once I became a man, you know, I came to realize that young people, I think, should not be able to get married without the mom and dad's input and agreement to
Mm.
get married. I'm not talking about arranged marriages where you're compelling girls to marry, you know, like what I understand goes on out in Utah sometimes and stuff. I'm not talking about that, but I think the parents should still have a very, very strong input
Mm.
in it because young people, just like I didn't, don't have a clue what they're looking at. You know, they don't know, you know, they don't know what they're looking at. They don't know the questions to ask. They don't know what they don't know. And it worked out for us. Why? I don't know. Remember, God takes care of idiots, infants, fools, and drunks,
Right.
right? I'm not an infant, so I'm either an idiot or a fool or a drunk. I don't know. But it worked out for us. But some people, you know, our kids would say, well, it worked out for you, mom and dad. It worked out for us in spite of us.
Mm.
You see, it worked out for us in spite of us, and we definitely have the emotional scars here and there to go with it.
Well, Well, thank
but we hung in. Do what
you.
now?
I said, thanks so much for calling in.
You see, you got to cut me off, man. You got to cut me off. Us Southerners will talk and talk, especially if you give us food. Give us food, we'll talk forever. All right, Pearl. Well, thanks for having me on, and I'm going to keep on watching you. And best of luck. And a few callers ahead of me who wanted to try to lecture you about how you ought to do your show. Here, I just think he needs to tend his own damn business.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Do you mind letting Donovan in? Yeah. Okay. So he should be back there. Donovan.
Yeah.
Letting, um,
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Perfect. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing really, really good. Very, 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 very interesting discussion that you're having. And the guy that was just on made a lot of really, really, really good points. And the first point that I'd like to sort of piggyback on in terms of what he was talking about is the way women change friends. And we're talking about modern women. We're not talking about women from 50 and 60 years ago. 50 and 60 years ago, it was unheard of for a woman to say, I'm going to marry my best friend. Your friends, as a woman, your friends and your boyfriend, husband, mate, whatever, have very, very different roles. The first reason why men should not be, and let me go ahead and let me back up here. I'm not saying that you shouldn't get along, right? I'm not saying that you shouldn't be compatible. And a lot of people like to say, well, me and this girl, we have so much in common, we're compatible. No, just because you have a lot in common does not mean you're compatible. So now the question becomes, what does compatibility mean? Compatibility is simple. You get along. I've been married to Devin and I, we have a great relationship. We're not friends. We enjoy each other's company. We enjoy spending time with each other and we get along, but we are not friends. The things that you're required to do as a man are not the things that she needs. You understand what I'm saying? Like her friends are going to do different things, from her man. And here's another thing. Women who endorse this, I want to marry my best friend, they're only saying it because it sounds good. But think about this, guys. Think about this. A lot of girls like to sort of snowflake, and sort of turn on the slut shields and say, well, before I get into a relationship with a guy, we have to be friends. Okay, well, guys actually take that to heart and then wonder why they've been put into the friend zone. If you act like her friend, gentlemen, she is going to friend zone you. You're not acting like her man, you're acting like her friend. And if you treat her like a friend, she in turn is going to treat you like a friend. Also, when you are a friend with some, like I have a very small group of friends. If there's any discourse between us, or if I pissed one of them off or they pissed one of me off, I will move heaven and earth to make sure that I mend that relationship. And listen, I've been in fights and, healthy discussions and arguments with all of my closest friends. When and if that ever happens, we always give ourselves a little bit of time to cool off. Then we come, hey man, my bad. We chop it up, whatever, whatever. You cannot do that with your woman. You listen, be afraid to piss off your friends because they're your friends. Gentlemen, you cannot be afraid to piss off your woman. This doesn't mean that you should piss off your woman on purpose. But when you are unabashedly honest, unabashedly masculine with your woman, you can't be afraid to piss her off, because if you're afraid to piss her off, then you are afraid of your woman. And if your woman knows that you are afraid of her, she cannot respect you. Your woman is with you because you are superior to her in every way. You're bigger, faster, stronger, etc. Women can't feel safe with their friends. Like when girls are out with their friends at night or during the day, they don't feel physically protected around their group of friends because they're women. But if you are in the friend zone, your woman is not the woman that you are romantically interested in. She's not really going to feel protected by you because she knows that as her friend, you are not obliged to protect her. Right. However, as her man, if something pops off or if there's anything going on, as her man, you step in to protect her. Friends don't protect each other. Now, obviously, male friends and female friends, groups of male and female friends, we all have different dynamics. But for the most part, women can't count on their friends to protect them, nor should they. She should absolutely count on her man. Friends are supposed to listen to her problems, give her rides, talk about the guy she's dating. How in the world is that attractive to a woman? If a woman knows you're going to drop everything and do everything for her no matter what because you're her bestie, she's not going to respect you as a man.
Well, and my thought is it shows a lack of understanding of men because
Yes.
men don't want to hear about our problems. They don't want to hear about what we do I mean a little bit, right? Like fine, but it's not like guys are dying for you to come in and give all the unnecessary details that we give to our friends. Like women, we enjoy that. We want to know all the details. We want to know like everything about the story. Men do not. They're like, get to the point.
You know what? It's funny when we talk, hey, how was work? It was a long, hard day. You ask
Yeah.
a woman, hey, how was work? Well, I felt like I wasn't really going to have a good day because my hair was done. And then Susie in accounting, she got on my nerves. It's, oh, dude, it's just men and women are obviously very different. And here's another thing that the country guy from Alabama, love that dude. Here's something else he pointed out. Friends these days, modern women, they never hold each other accountable for anything bad